Hello everyone, I'm Rob Smith of the Smith in the Black Channel here at Ticker Talker, and we've got, let's take a look, a little exhaustion risk. And what that means is, when you get the SPY going into the highs, now we've got an outside week to the upside, all right? So exhaustion risk, a little boring. We keep just driving higher, no more inside month as we take out two to the upside and we just keep driving higher. Remember yesterday we talked about this daily during the day before it happened, that this was setting up for an outside day, which it did. Then into the highs. And what that means is that when we poke down below previous day's low and then went green, we know outside bars exist. So this selling was rejected and now still being rejected and going into the highs. So what happens here is when you have exhaustion risk, and I see by going into the highs, you don't have any pivots to take out. So anybody short against anything just got blasted out, right? So what we want to see is here, you can look at this 60 minute. Inside 60 pokes up. Now if we can take this out, this low out, 421.96, then maybe we can see a little bit of a tone change, because what we always want to do is be trading against people in losing positions. So how do we know somebody's in a losing position? Well, in a day like today, when you go blasting into the highs, anybody taking out yesterday's lows is something I want to know about, because they got what they wanted. The market rallied and then it continued to rally. But if you're long and you're taking this out, you got a problem and you have to make a decision. We're going to help you make that decision because you're going to get out. So that's one of the things we're looking for, but we could use that tone change, because otherwise you just go into exhaustion, just go up here and sit and do nothing, right? So if we go to QQQ, one thing we know, the Qs have been underperforming because they're still two down on the week. You see this? Taking out last week's lows. They're still down, still an inside month, but coming back and forth. And you can see this. You got a little bit of selling in here. These 2 hours, and now maybe 3 hours, are going to be in here, right? So we might lull them to sleep on a Friday, if you will. You got that upper left, inside day, pokes down. Rev strat on the gap, though. That's a problem, right? Because you want to travel through this as opposed to gap through it, because if you're going to stop all these guys out, you might do them all in one shot on the gap, and then you just get to sit. If you could open here and then drive through, then you can trigger stops, but that's not what's happening. So right now we're trying to see if we can get any type of weakness here out of this market, because then we can really see who wants to be long and who doesn't, because everybody can stay long when the market's rallying. It's when it starts to come in that they can't. So if we go to Dow Jones Diamonds, just ripping into the highs. 2 week inside pattern, ripping into the highs, exhaustion risk, and that's when you get this kind of thing. Doesn't mean they're going to tank, but what it means is if we can take some of these lows out in the afternoon, then we're going to see who really wants to be long what, right? So a few things you can look for here. Like I said, mostly we want to try and find things that are taking out either the morning lows or yesterday's lows, right? But on the long side, on a Friday, oftentimes you'll see profit taking against things that we've been looking for. So something like TTD, we've been looking for this, right? Two up, two down, and boom, take these guys out with the inside month to the downside. But on a Friday, if you just took this big chunker out here, 760, all the 160 points out of here, boom, maybe you're going to take some profits. 2-2 reversal day, and this is why we look for things that have more volatility, because it didn't gap. So once this took out 644.31, we're good to go on the reversal, because the day and the 60 are going to be green, and not bad. 660 now just kind of sitting there. If we go to Boeing, and Boeing, so just like the NASDAQ, Qs, and a few other things, what you're going to see here is you're going to see this. I'm going to get this apple in here. What you're going to see here is the inside day, the poke down, rev strat day, and didn't gap. So we're looking to take these two highs out at least, and hopefully that, because these 3 days are inside of that, right? And so on a Friday, we always want to know, well, what's that going to set up for next week? Well, potential rev strat week. Inside week, pokes down, now coming back, right? And if that works, potential rev strat monther. So that's why you'd want to know about Boeing there. If we go to Apple, see the difference. You can see, I'm going to just show you the Boeing, what I just talked about with Qs and Apple, is they gap. But Boeing didn't gap. You see, you want to come through here so you can stop these guys out as it goes, as opposed to stopping them out right out the chute on the gap. You see, there's a difference. If we go to ALGN, okay, we're starting to lose a few here. This is good. And ALGN, once again, slight gapper, but you had that inside day, then here and back up. And once that's set up, this is still an inside month, which means we can expect it to go back and forth. But one of the things we look for is this here, hammer coming back into the old range for next week. We'll see. If we go to who we've known is strong during, as we've seen this market go back and forth, on the 60-minute basis. But we've known the energy, XLE. So we'll call this Momo Hammer, right? Anybody got short in here yesterday? Boom, take them out, right? Because we've been looking for a lot of this pattern is like in almost every energy stock. Take out the previous high, take out the previous low, 2222 above 51.28, and we are looking to take this out, 54.36 in the XLE. That also tells us to look at XOP. And XOP, similar, 2 up, 2 down on the month, and taking out 85.69, you're there, and we're looking to take this high out, 92.24 this month. So staying on all that kind of stuff, and you can just go right on down the line. But if you look at EOG, and EOG, this is a pattern that we look for. Not only is it inside month to the upside, but you can see this shooter hammer, 2 up, 2 down, and bam, there we go. And then you can break it down to the 60-minute, inside 60, up, inside, measured move, monthly signal, green on the week, and the 2 day, and they just keep going on down the line. I think we had Chevron here, the inside day Momo Hammer, right? Once again, you're going to see this, and I got the weekend videos coming out over the weekend. 2 up, 2 down, boop. Where are you going to go? You're going to take this out. 112.70. You know how I know that? Because these 2 bars are going to be coming outside bar of that. You see, outside bar, inside, boom, off Chevron. Still good. If we go to Centene, CNC, nice mover there. Do we know about this? We did. Because here's the outside week. Took out both sides. And then, boom, take this thing out. Here's my reversal. Is it? Boom, back to the highs. And we knew about this. Broadening formation, inside day. And then off she goes. Sometimes they go a little bit further than you thought. Oh, yeah. Motorola, MSI. And Motorola, outside week. So just going into the highs, exhaustion risk. Just when we come into the strat time report, what we want to look for is things that have nice long red and green bars on the day. They tend to get longer and redder or greener. So right now, stalling out with the exhaustion risk. All right, we got the Qs coming in here. So we know the Qs have been weaker. Right now, it's doji on the day, not doing much. But we still have this weekly signal in force. And any time that the day can go red, that's something we'd want to know about. So here's the opening of the day, 334.37. We can take that out, and the 60 is red. You'll have full time frame continuity to the downside. That's something we'd want to know about because we have a greater majority of NASDAQ stocks that are taking out last month's lows. If we go to XME, still going, and a nice week for the XME, and that tells us our steels, your new cores. Look at that, still going. How's X doing today? X, is this something we look for? It is on the daily. You see this? Taking out the previous day's highs, picking out previous day's lows, and then boom, right there. These 2 days become an outside bar of that. Also an inside month to the upside in the lower middle. If we go to financials, we got Goldman Sachs coming up here as an inside month to the upside. Exhaustion risk by going to the highs, but still going to get a Morgan Stanley inside month to the upside too. So those two you can keep an eye on for the month. Like I said, exhaustion risk when you go on the highs. We prefer to come back through previous ranges to stop people out. And so what we're having going on right now is RevStrat SPY. What's going on? Inside bar poke up and then boom. The problem is the magnitude is only to take this out, which you already did. We hope it gets worse, but at this point you can start to look for things that are taking out the morning lows and yesterday's lows, right? Definitely, right? So you're going to see RKT, Rocket, still puking, right? Here you go. Inside on the 60, right here. Still going to the downside, having all sorts of problems. If we go to DraftKings, and here on the weekly, hammer, shooter, 2 down, 2 up, boom. These two become an outside bar of that. You're taking out last month's lows. That's a problem. Now you got an inside 60 to see how that goes. So when you see this open like this and then come in outside 60, 3-2 right here, you can hit this as soon as it breaks this low below 51.21, because at that point you're red on all time frames. That's full time frame continuity to the downside, and you got some magnitude to take these guys out, which you did. Now you're inside. Now this would be continuation if they want to take it down. If we go to Peloton, so Peloton gaps up on the day a little bit right here, but as soon as it backs off, it's still red and inside down on the month and red on the week. So as soon as that daily and 60 go red, that's full time frame continuity to the downside. You're taking this out down into here and hopefully take these guys out. Here's your inside bar right there. Boom, there's your trigger. Below 87.27. Done. Toast. See ya. AMTX. AMTX. Inside week to the downside. Here. Up. Inside month to the downside. So anytime this baby's red on the daily and the 60, that's something I'd want to know about. So you can see this thing getting clobbered. Once again, if you're long something like this and the market gaps up, you can stay long because you're like, well, maybe it'll play catch up. As soon as the market backs off even a little bit, you're toast, and you'll see the acceleration. If we go to Airbnb, another problem for these guys. Still an inside day. That's the best thing that's got going for it because you're inside month to the downside. 222 magnitude was to take this out. Already did that. But then anytime you pop up once again and start to back off inside 60 to the downside, that's full time from continuity to the downside. That's something I'd want to know about. If we go to VRM, and VRM here, still an inside month, right? And all this stuff is just kind of stuck in here, but here, 2 up, 2 down week. This is a reversal on the week. It's a continuation on the day because it's taken out yesterday's lows. So anybody who's long this thing was hoping, oh, well, the market's going to gap up. I'll be fine. Wrong. Boom. Puke. And inside 30 to the downside. You see that? If we go to Ollie, and Ollie inside day to the downside, right? That's not something you'd want to see if you're long Ollie. And you want to see this. Take it out last month's lows, below 85.65. You're sitting right there. That's a problem. That means anybody who bought it last month is about to go underwater with the inside day down. Here's your inside 30 to give you the trigger to get in there. If we go to CTXS, and CTXS, once again, slightly gaps up, but once it starts coming in, it's red on all time frames. We can expect a gap fill off the 30. So right now we're getting a little bit of that corrective activity, but now that we have that, we're not expecting too much downside out of the futures. Here, as you can see, it backs off just a little bit. Now we can stall out in here. But now what I want to start looking for coming into the afternoon is not only these guys taking out the morning, daily, and yesterday's lows, but if we start to firm up, right? Like we just sit here and do nothing and start to firm up again. Anybody taking out the morning highs, right? Because anybody's trying to pick a top and short them, they're hoping that this is like, oh, I think it's going to roll over. When it doesn't, that's when you can jam them into the afternoon. One more, let's see what's going here. Funko, what's going on here? Funko come up, FNKO, taking out this stuff here. Outside week to the upside. So as we're coming into the weekend, always running out of time, but don't get chopped up and don't get the FOMO. Airbag and bag going to the lows. Hope everybody had a great week and has an even better weekend. I'm Rob Smith, the Smith and Black Channel here at Ticker Talker Strat Time Report.